So you talked
For
about your
sure.
voice earlier. I love how I love how your voice was kind of created through karaoke. I didn't expect that answer earlier, but I do have a question about your voice that may end up turning into a few because your voice is amazing, and the beginning video that we shared just shows your incredible control over that instrument. And a lot of people out there don't realize what an instrument vocals are, right? So I want to really talk about the nuts
Mhm.
and bolts of that. I love the sound and timbre of your voice, and I love your knowledge of what to do with your voice and when to do it. So that's very noticeable as a listener for me, somebody who's really listened to a lot of music over the years. Can you talk to us about your instrument, your voice as an instrument, and how you've learned to kind of use it better over time?
Yeah. So I started out in church. I used to sing at like beauty pageants and things like that, but I was in church, led praise and worship, all that good stuff. I think the main thing that I like about my voice, which was funny because, somebody said they didn't like it about my voice, was that it comes from like a theatrical place. And so, it's almost like every song is a movie. So I try to, you have I have inflex and then I have the dynamics that I focus on. I focus on, the vibrato itself, putting it, in my chest, in my stomach, in my head, in my ears, having it, go fully through the range of motion. So then, or whatever the emotion is that's going through the song, I want it to be felt not just by the words, but even just by the tone. So then if I wasn't even saying words, you could feel what I was saying
Yeah.
and
And
feel what
that's
I'm
very
meaning.
smart because a lot of times when you're writing a song, the melody comes first. And so if you can find that
Mhm.
emotion with the melody before you've even written those words in there, that can definitely help with writing the words in a more emotional way, right?
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I love that. So now you are a full-time musician as well, right?
Yes, sir.
So tell us.
Almost 7 years.
7 years. Just out there banging it, man. So tell us the good and bad about that, man. What's the good and bad of being a full-time
Man,
musician?
I mean, the great part is, of course, being able to share your art and being able to pay bills off of it. That's something that, not many just people in general get to do. Even people down to who like to create just, paintings or, people who want to be entrepreneurs and, cut hair, all that, they don't have, some people never get to that point of, this is what pays all my bills. And to have that is a true blessing. I think that's one of the great things about it. Also, it helped put my wife through nursing school. So it helped, it was, me following my dream help her follow her dream and become what she is now, which she's a director of nursing now, which is crazy in her, lane. But on the bad side, it is, you do have those days where you feel like, man, I don't know if I'm good at this job. There's so much to have to do with being a full-time musician. You have to be, forever presentable in whatever you've put out into the world. So how they see you on social media is how you got to be when they see you at Walmart. And sometimes I don't feel like being that way in Walmart. Sometimes I feel like grabbing baskets with my left hand. I don't feel like showing them I'm right-handed. All that good stuff.
Mm.
And then you still, being a full-time musician, doing it as a business, you still have to deal with the everyday dealings of the every human, of like dealing with bills, dealing with family, dealing with friends, dealing with all that different stuff, and not being able to go to birthday parties and go to weddings and go to graduations. And so that was always a not really a big concern for me, because I'm like, I can go without it. But for my wife, I'm like, hey, I can't make Christmas this week. I can't make Thanksgiving this next year. My wife came to me and she's like, I wanna go see the ball drop in New York on New Year's. I said, baby, I probably will never have New Year's off the rest of my
No,
life.
probably not.
I'll let you know that right now.
Yeah,
And so, but
that's the big money day,
I
man. You can't take that day off.
right, right. I said, I'll try my best to get a show in New York so we can do that. We'll try our best to see if we can see it from down the street. We can
Yeah,
get it going.
that's funny.
But
And I mean, you don't get to see other people's shows either, which is probably one of the worst things about being a musician. Is you're the musician, you're the show you get to see. You know, like I mean,
yeah,
you're
yeah,
booked Fridays and Saturdays, and I mean, a lot of yours is DIY too. So you got to do your own bookings, you got to do your own social media, you got to do your own everything really, and I mean that's tough when you don't have a team. Speaking of team, your manager Shay is amazing. She believes, boy,
boy.
she believes in you big time, man. What an asset to you, man.
Yeah. Yeah, she is the hardest working person I have ever met in my life. Man, when I met Shay, I was in the house. I didn't have lights or water. And I said, you know what? Let this motorcycle pass. I said, you know what? I really want to do this music thing. I do. I wanna do this music thing and I wanna give it a real shot. She's like, okay, well, I gotta see you perform. I said, okay, well come on to the house and I'll show you what I can do. And so I was in a pop duo at the time. And so she came to the house and said, can you wait right here for a second? And so I didn't even have an extension cord. I had Christmas lights ran from the neighbor's house to my house. And so I had me a fog machine, some lights, some speakers plugged in, and I performed right there in my living room. And that's when this relationship started. And so, we do, like you said, we have a team. Like we break up all these different jobs between us two. And I'm working on expanding my team right now. And that's the hardest part too, because I don't want anybody on my team that's not going to have the same, dedication that we have right now.
Yep, they have to have as much to lose as you do, I think, right? Otherwise, it just doesn't work out. Like it's hard to find people that have the same passion as you in you, right? Because obviously
Right.
you are going to be passionate about you, and your wife is, and your family is, and your friends are. But finding a somebody who works for or with you that has that same passion in you, it's really difficult.
Yeah.
Really, really difficult.
Right.
Let's talk about songwriting. Man, I've been blessed to talk to a lot of really cool songwriters over the years, and you are no different. So I would love to hear how your process works in creating songs. There's a lot of different ways, obviously, and there's no wrong way to create a song. Do the lyrics typically come first for you, or the melody, or does it just differ between songs?
It differs between songs. It's funny because just like I told you how I come up with those medleys with the crowd and it's very much in the moment. When I write songs or when I put songs together, it's very much in the moment. I typically don't even put pen to paper until it's time to record. So we'll be driving down the road and I'll think about a situation. I was like, oh, I'm gonna go ahead and write that. That sounds all right. I'm gonna go ahead and okay. And then I come back 2 days later, and if I can't remember it, I'm like, oh, that's not worth writing down anyway. And
Mm.
so, I never write it down on paper until it's like time to record, and they're like, okay, we need lyrics just so everybody knows where everybody is.
Wow,
But as for yeah, so a lot of the songs almost technically are freestyles,
that's
really. But
amazing. So you're not one of those that just has like copious notes all over the place and like a memo pad in your
mm-mm.
phone with like 400 different ideas in it all at once. And um,
And it's funny because like I have pads with ideas in it, and I have my phone with voice memos on it, but I never end up going back to them unless I'm like, oh yeah, man, that sounds good. I remember it because like I want songs that stick in people's head. So if it doesn't stick in my head, I'm like, how's it going to stick in somebody else's head? And
yeah,
so I've written one song off of assignment, and that was When Mama Comes Home. Now that's a great track too, still. But Shay told me, she said, I need you to write a song. And you know what? We already have enough songs about your wife. We already have enough songs about your wife's backside. We need something else. We need something else. And I said, okay. I said, all right, we'll try it. We'll see what we can do. And so she said, write about something that makes you happy. And I was like, okay, cool. And then what it really was just getting the gears turning and seeing how it goes. And I wrote this song about, what used to make me happy when I was little. Cause I was like, oh, when mama comes home, we get to go do this and do this XYZ. We get to go have fun. So, and that's how that one was done. So I think that was the only one that I ever written that I was like, okay, I'm gonna write this down because this is an assignment.
yeah, that's cool. So you're just walking into the studio with no songs and just just recording a damn album. That's
Well,
amazing.
well, by the time I get to the studio, I have it all written out and everything. Granted, I've gone on stage and I didn't have nothing going on. I just go out there and just figure it out. I tell the band what chords to play, and I was like, all right, here we go. Let's see what happens.
This goes back to the fake it till you make it, man. That's like the story
Yeah.
here, right? The fake it till you make it.